in spite of the dispersal order. And so, keep in mind, listen, one of the requisites here for the Insurrection Act, you gotta try to use conventional law enforcement before. And so, if conventional law enforcement, Minneapolis police chief issues dispersal order, and still the people are not dispersing, then maybe things have to escalate.
If you really have another choice but then to show up. You
said you don't want to be out here, but you are. Why did you feel like it was something you needed to do?
Thank you very much.
I don't want to be here because it's negative 10 degrees, but I don't know another way to show how much I'm hurting. I don't know a way to show support for the community other than to come to the site where something super tragic just happened about 2 hours ago. If I'm not here, I'm at home crying.
I know you said you live in the area. You weren't here when it happened.
You would be at home crying?
Despite what we're seeing at a national level, I keep telling everybody that this community is peaceful, this community is passionate, this community is protective of itself, and this community is coming together in a way that I didn't know a city was capable of. The way that protesters are organizing, the way that people are encouraging peace. Just now, we had like 15 people trying to put out a car, racing the car with fires because ICE shot tear gas into it. So I think like a pretty beautiful display of what's actually happening here. And generally, what do I think about the community? This is my home, and now more than ever, I'm proud to live here.
Where do you think this community, this neighborhood, this city goes from here? What now?
I think that's the question that we're all reckoning with right now.
You got to take notice of something here. Listen, Renee Good was a liberal white woman. This is a liberal white man who has been shot today. These people are going out here. They are defending the most criminally delinquent, sexually predacious. These are gang members. These are human traffickers. These are pedophiles. The worst of the worst type of people. These illegal aliens that ICE is actively pursuing, detaining, and deporting. And Renee Good and this individual today, they're out here trying to protect these sick, disgusting, illegal alien, criminally inclined freaks. They're out here saying, hey, how dare you deport our child sex traffickers? Hey, how dare you deport our violent Tren de Aragua gang members? How dare you do that? I'm willing to lay down my life in defense of these sick, disgusting, illegal alien freaks. It really is insane. It is insane.
What's been going on? We do not have access right now to ICE agents or Border Patrol or DHS except for what they're tweeting out. We are waiting.
Thank you, Marsh. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. At noon. It's now 1 o'clock. From Greg Bovino, who has been doing a lot of press conferences. He's a commander of Border Patrol. He has been the go-to guy through all of this. We are waiting to hear from him. But as media, the only people that we're getting any information or interviews from are the protesters on the ground. We can see that state patrol is there. We saw Minneapolis police being there, trying to keep the peace. The tear gas, the pepper balls seem to have stopped, at least for now, since federal agents have left the scene. And right now, we just have others, at the scene with local law enforcement. It's unclear. Nobody went in and collected evidence with the shooting from earlier in the week. The man shot in the leg. So it's unclear if they're on scene for this one, collecting the evidence, or if it's going to be federal, or if they're going to be cooperate, which hasn't worked out very well so far. But
we will learn more about that presumably in a half an hour from now. Governor Walz is going to be holding a news conference with DPS Commissioner Bob Jacobson, and we will carry that live here when that's scheduled to get underway at 1:30. Well, it wasn't 1:30 Minneapolis time like a half hour ago, for sure. I do a couple of updates here for you folks. Stand by. I keep my palette here to get everything back in order. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I do have some updates I want to share with you. First off, folks. Okay, take a look at this. Rioters are now barricading the streets with dumpsters. Surely this will stop ICE. The DHS will never be able to penetrate these barricades. Never. Really akin to the Great Trojan War. And of course, going back to chanting, what is it? Chiga, La Migra, whatever the hell they say, no hablo español.
Washington government funding is about to run out next week. Senators are supposed to come back to the Hill next week to vote on government funding, which includes funding for the Department of Homeland Security, for ICE, for FEMA, for a lot of different things to help people across the country. The House just voted on it, the Senate has to pick it up, and there are senators already calling
Listen up.
on blocking that funding, basically holding it hostage in a way in order to get reforms to the Department of Homeland Security.
So right now the Democrats are going to try to shut down the government again. Yes, again, in order to try to cripple new DHS funding.
And a senior Democratic congressional source just told our chat program that this shooting and what we're seeing right now on the screen is a, quote, new wild card and could make it challenging to fund the government next week.
I don't know, listen, I have a hard time believing that the left is going to make a martyr out of this guy that died today because he was he was a white man. He was a white man, he was. And so is the far left going to make a martyr out of a white guy? They were barely able to do it out of Renee Good. People got over that in less than a week. She was a white woman. This is a white man, the most privileged, evil, demonic people on the face of the planet, the evil white man. The white man. Are they going to martyr this guy? I kind of doubt it. I don't know. We got to see here.
On the Department of Homeland Security. So a lot of different things are at play right now, and we're watching all of it. We're also waiting for this press conference to take place in the next half hour here. We're waiting for the Border Patrol Chief, Bovino. He's going to take the microphone here in Minneapolis and give us an update. But so far, we know that one person is dead, a 37-year-old white American citizen, multiple gunshot wounds. Life-saving aid was delivered to him. He was taken to the Hennepin County Medical Center, but he was pronounced dead. The Department of Homeland Security.
Dead. Doctor diagnosed him with a serious case of found out. Terminal case of found out.
And after the shooting, early this morning, about 9:50, I think it happened, Tim, around 9:50, 9:30. And there's been, there were points.
Chief 905, according to DHS.
Let's listen to that.
It says,
serving two combat tours. I'm sick of seeing our federal government treating us, killing us. Well, I'm going to interview him. The federal
We're going to walk back a little bit.
Massive protest here. Wow, a lot of people down here. It's getting crazy.
We are walking back.
Stopping of the tear gas has started up again.
everyone's on the move.
It's on the move, yeah.
And again, these are, we're gathering information from the scene in real time here. These are the conversations that we have access to. We're still waiting to learn truly the hard facts of what's coming in. We've got one scenario from the Department of Homeland Security that the victim in this case, according to the police chief, who is a 37-year-old white man, Minneapolis resident, American citizen, had nothing more than, according to the police chief, traffic citations on his record.
Well, it doesn't matter what he had on his record in the past. Matters what he did today, which is he was down there, wrestling around with ICE agents or DCBP agents. Potentially even pulled out his firearm. You're not allowed to do that. Also, listen, this veteran guy, no disrespect to veterans here, of course. He said, "This is not the country I fought for. This is not the country I fought for." Wait a minute. So you fought in Iraq or Afghanistan so that your country could be invaded by tens of millions of evil aliens? That's the inference you make from that. This isn't what I fought for. So what did you fight for? You went and fought in Afghanistan or Iraq so you could come home and have your nation stolen from you and your children by tens of millions of immigrants from Guatemala, Ecuador, Somalia, fuck knows where else? Is that what you fought for? I'm sorry, that's what you fought for? To have your own damn country invaded? Really?
That shooting, we'll have to take a look at it and see. But several angles, and all those videos are very important in trying to determine exactly what unfolded and who fired when, and when that gun that was on the person who got shot, when that was taken, when they finally got a hold of that gun. So that's unclear at this point. We hope to hear more soon.
And if we look at the video from Sky Fox 9 here on the left side of your screen, you can see more smoke agents being deployed there at the scene, and we have no idea what that is. If it's just purely smoke, or if it's OC, or if it's chemical irritants of some kind, or pepper clouds, pepper canisters, we don't know. But there obviously there's now an effort, and here you can see several scenes. Okay, at least 3 different scenes there where the agents are being deployed in an effort to disperse the crowd that the police chief has already called an unlawful assembly.
And that was called quite some time ago.
Right.
Yeah, and so, but the crowds actually seem to not be dispersing or not going away, and it seems like more people are starting to come. And, that would explain the tear gas that is now being deployed, or the chemical gas that is now being deployed at some of those protesters if the crowd is likely growing. And I guess
The crowd is growing.
it's more disruptive. We're getting too close.
Say again, your little perspective. It was yesterday afternoon that we saw some people say 12,000 far left protesters marching through the streets of Minneapolis. They had a scheduled protest, a big day of rage. In fact, Governor Tim Walz, he pretty much shut down the entire city. Minneapolis Mayor Friday shut it down. They closed down the schools. They closed down all the restaurants. They closed down the entire city so everybody could go participate in the protest. That was yesterday. 12,000 people marching around. Well, today we have this incident. So all of these people are already in town. They were bussing in protesters. This is just total chaos. Look at what is unfolding here. They've got paid protesters bussing people in. We know those people are still in town because they were here yesterday. And so right now, I've been saying this all morning, we have a recipe for disaster. We've got all these protesters already in town. We've got this incident today. These people are losing their minds. It's already total chaos. They've already received a dispersal order from the Minneapolis police chief. They have ignored that dispersal order. In fact, opposite, the crowd's getting even bigger. So now this is just lawless anarchy down here. Dispersal order, hey, you got to go home. They are ignoring that. And of course, on the sidelines, we know President Trump for about a week now has had about 1,500 active duty U.S. military personnel, not National Guard. These are people they flew down from Alaska. They're down here outside the city, ready and waiting for the order. If Trump says go, they are going in. Insurrection Act is activated. We've got around 4,000 federal law enforcement officers between CBP, DHS, ICE, FBI is down here. Folks, I'm telling you, today, where we are right now, this is the closest that we have been to the Insurrection Act. This is the closest we have come to Trump actually invoking this thing.
We did the scene.
But it seems like a lot of protesters are at this time
This is not
equipped
nothing.
with
This is something.
the gas masks and coverings and maybe some goggles and things like that, so they are able to stay in the area. Those that aren't are usually kind of taking cover, protecting themselves until the irritant disperses into the air. There's different areas too where protesters are gathering, different sides to this scene. It seems like it is an intersection, so I guess there's probably a possibility of 4 different scenes there.
Kelly's camera right here, I believe this is the one. This is at 26th and Nicollet right now. The upper left is 26th and Nicollet. The camera that you're seeing right there in the foreground right now, the bigger one, we don't know where this is at, but you can clearly see people kicking some of the smoke canisters away from the scene. And there's the street that is so dark here in the studios, I can't. The monitor is so dark I can't see. So okay, they're Blaisdell and in the cross street. I don't know where. So Siraj, this is your camera. I know if you're listening, please stay safe. We don't want you to get stung by the chemical agents as well. But yeah,
Lord.
protesters are now throwing some of those canisters back, and police are throwing them right back at them. So it's just the tensions at the scene are quite high, which is why the police chief has just been begging for people to go home, to remain peaceful, and
the police chief is begging people to go home. If your police chief is if first he issues a dispersal order, then it is ignored. Then he's begging the far left riders, and still they don't go home. Chaos. This is lawlessness. This is anarchy. The police chief, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, the police chief here, they have lost control of the city. They do not have control here.
to remain calm, because what they fear the most is that the White House will see this as a trigger to invoke the Insurrection Act.
Yeah, that's right.
Send in federal troops to Minnesota. It's been reported that the 11th Airborne out of Alaska, which is a cold weather unit, has been put on standby and alerted to possibly come here. We don't know if that will ever happen, but there's been a fear all along that something like this would trigger the White House to invoke that act.
Yep.
It'll be interesting. We're supposed to hear from the governor around 1:30. It'll be interesting to hear if he will bring the National Guard. He does have them on standby. That's been noted for several days. Oh, look, we have Greg Bovino, Commander Greg Bovino with Border Patrol.
There he is.
Stepping up to the podium.
My commander.
Getting ready to speak. And
There he
give us
is.
additional details on what unfolded this morning at 26th and Nicollet. Let's listen.
Here we go.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. I'm Gregory Bovino, and I have the privilege and honor of leading United States Border Patrol and Customs and Border Protection here in Minneapolis. Some of those brave men and at 9:05 a.m. Central Standard Time, as DHS law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien, Jose Huerta Chuma. You can see this illegal alien on the screen to my left and right. That is Jose Huerta Chuma, whose criminal history includes domestic assault to intentionally inflict bodily harm, disorderly conduct, and driving without a valid license. During this operation, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol agents with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The agents attempted to disarm the individual, but he violently resisted.
We saw that.
Fearing for his life and the lives and safety of fellow officers, a Border Patrol agent fired defensive shots. Medics on the scene immediately delivered medical aid to the subject, but the subject was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 loaded magazines and no accessible ID. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. Then, about 200 rioters arrived at the scene and began to obstruct and assault law enforcement. Crowd control measures have been deployed for the safety of the public and law enforcement. This situation is evolving, and more information is forthcoming. The officer was highly trained and had been serving as a Border Patrol agent for 8 years. The officer has extensive training as a range safety officer and less lethal officer. As mentioned, this is only the latest attack on law enforcement. Across the country, the men and women of DHS have been attacked, shot at, doxxed, had their family members threatened. And, as we have seen more than 100 vehicle rammings over the past year against federal law enforcement. We will not allow violence against our law enforcement officers, and we need state and local help, state and local law enforcement, to help us coordinate to get violent criminals off the street. Mayor Fry and Chief O'Hare just a few minutes ago did the opposite of that by omitting the fact that the suspect had a gun and magazines full of ammunition.
Very true.
In what looks like a situation, again, where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. I want to reiterate what President Donald Trump, Secretary Kristi Noem, myself, Director Marcos Charles, and so many others have said time and again. If you obstruct a law enforcement officer or assault a law enforcement officer, you are in violation of the law and will be arrested. Our law enforcement officers take an oath to protect the public. We go to work every day to protect our friends, our neighbors, and our fellow citizens. The fact of the matter is that the law does not enforce itself. It takes men and women who are willing to risk their lives to enforce it. The men and women of CBP and ICE, law enforcement, are highly trained professionals who love this country and do this work because they want to leave their kids and their grandkids a country that's safe and secure.
That's right.
Questions?
Here we go.
First question, when did it get
Allie, this situation again is evolving. This situation is under investigation. Those facts will come to light. This particular incident is being investigated just like we investigate other similar incidents like we've done over the past several years. It's in the hands of professionals. Those facts will come to light.
All right, we're on the next one. So, did you have an additional gun, or was the gun moved from the scene? And I watched the video from start to finish of how he was wearing that red jacket, and it doesn't seem like he pulled the weapon at any point. So, did the account come from the agents? Did they say that he pulled the gun before, during, after? When does the gun come out?
Again, this situation's evolving. This is under investigation. Those facts will come to light. But let's take a look at the gun. And you can see the gun here on the screen there that individual possessed. It appears to be a semi-automatic, high-capacity type, possibly a 6 Sauer 9mm.
All right, no more questions. All right, no more questions, sir.
No more questions. There you have it.
Oh boy, and obviously reporters still had a lot of questions, as do.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say something here that I don't know might piss some people off. I might sound a little bit like an extremist, but kind of up to here right now. These far left radicals, these agitators, they're down here for the sole and explicit purpose to undermine and impede federal law enforcement operations. These officers, we have voted for Trump. We voted for Trump to have mass deportations. We do not want these people in the country anymore. The American people expressed our democratic will. Our democratic desire and will was expressed in the outcome of the 2024 election. We took the House, the Senate, and the White House, and over half of the state governorships. Okay? We kicked these people out of the country. We do not want them anymore. We stripped the far left of power. We do not want these illegal aliens in the country. In fact, the ones that already are in the country, we want them deported. That is what we voted for. That is the overwhelming democratic will of the American people. These people like Renee Good, this individual today who lost his life trying to once again violently, aggressively impede federal law enforcement operations, these people are civilizational threats. And if you disagree, let me ask you a question. What would this country look like if Renee Good got her way? What would this country look like if this individual today got his way? Well, we would not have a border. We would have another 50, 100, 150, 200 million illegal aliens flooding into this country. Your hard-earned taxpayer dollars would be subsidizing the existence of these people that should not be in the country. What would this country look like if Renee Good got her way with the country? This individual today. We wouldn't have a country. The republic would come crumbling down. I am shedding No tears. No tears for these people. Listen, it's one thing to disagree with ICE. I don't like ICE, whatever. That's fine. You can disagree, you can not like it, but the second you take to the streets and you are attacking, assaulting, attempting to kill, getting violent with these ICE officers who are simply doing what we, the people, voted for them to do, sorry, you crossed the line. I'm not shedding tears for that. You are, as far as I'm concerned, you are a civilizational threat. You are a threat to the sheer existence of this republic. You are an existential threat to this nation. No, I'm not going to be sad about this at all. Here's footage they're playing right now. You can disagree with ICE, fine. Do it on the side of the road. Don't be blocking traffic. You can disagree with ICE, fine. Don't attack ICE officers. You can disagree with ICE, fine. Go complain about it on the internet. You disagree with ICE, go make a YouTube video, upload it onto YouTube. Seems like a lot of people do that. You disagree with ICE, go sit your fat ass on the couch and complain about it, okay? Do not attack federal law enforcement officers. Do not impede federal law enforcement operations. At that point, all bets are off. Once again, these guys are doing, these brave men and women, CBP, ICE, DHS, these guys are doing the job that we voted for them to do. That job is, in essence, saving this republic. Because once again, we will not have a republic if we don't get rid of these people, if we don't stop the flow, if we don't keep these far-left freaks out of power. You don't want to get shot by ICE, don't impede them. Don't attack them, don't assault them.
Oh my God! 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 Did you just do? Did you just do? Somebody call the ambulance! Somebody call the ambulance! Somebody needs to call the ambulance! Please, somebody call 911!
Ladies and gentlemen, hold that thought. We have a written statement from President Trump himself, who just posted this on Truth Social. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The man himself has chimed in, and he has to say, this is the gunman's gun loaded with 2 additional full magazines and ready to go. What is that all about? Where are the local police? Why aren't the local police allowed to protect ICE officers? The mayor and the governor called them off? It is stated that many of these police were not allowed to do their job, that ICE had to protect themselves. Not an easy thing to do. Why does Ilhan Omar have $34 million in her bank account? And where are the tens of billions of dollars that have been stolen from the once great state of Minnesota? We are there because of massive monetary fraud with billions of dollars missing and illegal alien criminals that were allowed to infiltrate the state through the Democrats' open border policy. We want the money back, and we want it back now. Those fraudsters who stole the money are going to jail where they belong. This is no different than a really big bank robbery. Much of what you're witnessing is a cover-up for this theft and for this fraud. The mayor and the governor are inciting insurrection. There it is. There it is. They are inciting insurrection with their pompous, dangerous, and arrogant rhetoric. Instead, these sanctimonious political fools should be looking for the billions of dollars that have been stolen from the people of Minnesota and from the United States of America. Let our ICE patriots do their job. 12,000 illegal alien criminals, many of them violent, have been arrested and taken out of Minnesota. If they were still there, you would see something far worse than what you are witnessing today. He said the I word. There's the statement from the big man himself, President Trump. He said the I word. Now what?
Please, 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 Dad, can we keep him? We'll walk him, we'll feed him. We'll do everything.
Oh, he's perfect. But also, dumb.
Sick of these far-left saboteurs doing everything they can to undermine President Trump's America First agenda. Go ahead and drop a follow, subscribe, like today's video. We are live right now on Rumble as well as on YouTube. Do me a favor, folks. Let me go ahead and scan for some updates, ladies and gentlemen. Stand by, stand by. Stand by now.
paused the video there on purpose so you could hear it but not see the fatal shots.
Oh my God!
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that video. It's still
Difficult to
even
see
with that better angle, it's still difficult to see.
if a gun was actually drawn.
Yeah,
And
just can't tell. You don't see it. I
don't
just
see it.
looking at it. You know, the 2 times I've seen it, we don't see the gun from that angle.
But it may very well be an instance too.
Today's video, we are live right now on Rumble as well as on YouTube. Do me a favor, folks. Let me go ahead and scan for some updates, ladies and gentlemen. Stand by, stand by. Stand by now. Stand by now. Back, sir, get off the road. You're blocking traffic. This guy's already physically confrontational. If during this tussle, the ICE officers even saw a gun tucked away in his belt, even if he wasn't reaching for it, this guy's obviously aggressive. He's belligerent. He's going crazy. He's physically violent here. They see a gun. At that point, I don't know. It's like, listen, all bets are off, buddy. All bets are off. This guy made a series of bad decisions, an elongated series of bad decisions. Now, Tim Waltz is coming out here pretty soon. That's what this looks like.
Exactly. It gives you reaction time as an officer.
Right, and there are, I've seen it, and we can see it, there are people who do get closer than that, who do get closer when it was 21 feet or even 8 feet. So what a reasonable distance is, I've asked this question, and I think it varies. It seems to vary. I don't know if there's a set rule or what are agents, what are any police officers comfortable with when encountering people who are not happy they're there.
It appeared, though, like you said, we had 2 distinct confrontations there. There was the woman with the pink backpack who was getting sprayed, and it appears as if another individual came in to intervene from behind those officers, and that's what...
Guys, this counter-protest here, this protest is just this riot, whatever you want to, I mean, it's clearly a riot. They're lighting shit on fire earlier today, and they're making barricades in the road. This is now, categorically, this is a riot, because they're lighting stuff on fire, they're blocking the road. Minneapolis police chief 2 hours ago now issued a dispersal order saying, hey, you gotta go home, this is an unlawful assembly, go home now. And they did not. In fact, there's more and more and more of them coming out. This is a riot at this point, as far as I'm concerned. And have some, I mean, this is just out of control today. This is just out of control. I've got a video here. Oh, got one. I can tell that this individual here, where is he? See his face. This guy right here was the individual standing to the left of Bovino at that press conference. Same guy. Now, these members of the far left, by the way, thank you, Nancy. Nancy, listen. You know this. These members of the far left, they are totally against anybody getting shot unless the shooter is an illegal alien. If the shooter is an illegal alien shooting an innocent American citizen, then it's all good. We don't care about it. These members of the far left, they are totally anti-human trafficking, anti-rape, anti-sexual assault. Unless the perpetrator engaging in this behavior is an illegal alien, then we're going to turn a blind eye. Illegal aliens, they can rape and pillage and steal and harass and defraud and murder and shoot whoever they want with complete and total impunity. It's all good. We're not going to talk about that. But the second law enforcement gets involved, tries to shut it down, then it's a problem. Then we have a problem. Then it's an issue. Then the far left is going scorched earth.
Far worse than you are witnessing today. And that is the end of the statement from President Trump, just released at Truth Social.
The president often weaving, as he often does, weaving a couple of ideas into the focus of the situation, the shooting that happened this morning. And it should be pointed out, he mentions illegal aliens, but the person that was shot and killed appears to have been a U.S. citizen, a white Caucasian 37-year-old man, U.S. citizen, a citizen of Minneapolis.
You know, I've said this 3 times, but I'm gonna say it again here. So Waterboy on Rumble, he has a Rumble rant. He says, I will say this as a Second Amendment advocate. There's nothing wrong with walking around with a loaded firearm in a magazine or 2 extra magazines. This is called being prepared in case you don't need it. Don't impede ICE. So once again, this guy, we've got the info now. This individual today, he was legally concealed carrying a firearm. He had a firearm with 2 magazines. He had a concealed carry license in Minnesota State. That's fine. You can do that. Minneapolis, if you want to have a CCW, that's fine. What you are not allowed to do is get confrontational, physically violent, and start impeding federal law enforcement officers. And just a piece of this is my personal advice. If you are going to get physically violent and impede federal law enforcement officers, you probably should not have that concealed carry weapon on you. Just like human to human, you should probably not have that gun, which you have legally, fine. You should not have that gun with you if you are going to get violent with federal law enforcement officers, because then all bets are off, dude. All bets are off.
And it has a little bit of a different story, so unclear whether
You're right though, Waterboy. True that.
were actually called, and if so, at what point. We'll have to try to get that answer. We are expecting Governor Walz to speak here shortly. The podium is set up and ready to go, but he has not taken to that podium just yet, and hopefully we will get even more answers about what's happening and what's going to happen as the day goes on here.
Meantime, if you look at the camera there in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, this is from Sky Fox 9, and you can see the crowd building now at the corner of 26 and Nicollet, where the shooting happened this morning. And again, we need to say that for the record, the police chief, Brian O'Hara, has asked people not to go. He's declared this an unlawful assembly.
Hey, real quick, this is an unlawful assembly, folks. What does that mean? This assembly is getting bigger, and 2 hours ago, Minneapolis police chief said, go home, unlawful assembly, dispersal order has been given. None of these people are respecting that dispersal order. What does that mean? This is a riot. This is out of control. Minneapolis police, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, they have lost control of the city. The city is out of control. Might be time for some federal law enforcement. Well, might be time for some National Guardsmen. Might be time for these Arctic guys from Alaska. What division of that was it? 111th Arctic Division from Alaska. Somebody correct me about that. Now we've got a statement here from AG Pamela Bondi. She has the audio here. Pam Bondi just took to Fox News.
Rape, homicide, manslaughter. That's who they're trying to protect in Minnesota. I do not understand these people. We sent Governor Walz a very strong letter today. We had been working on this letter. We got it out saying that he better support President Trump. He better support the men and women in law enforcement, because if he doesn't, we are.
Pam Bondi, just arrest him. I'm sorry. Listen, it is not the time to send a sternly worded letter. Bondi, arrest him. Arrest him. And Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, while you're at it, arrest these people. You sent him a letter. What'd you buy it at Hallmark? You sent him a Hallmark letter? Arrest him.
That's what we're doing right now. Were there any consequences in this letter? Well, we'll see. This is fluid. Let's see how Governor Walz responds. Let's see what he does based on this, based on what's happening right now. But this administration is going to support the citizens. We're going to support our great men and women in law enforcement.
Okay. All right. Okay. Look at this riot. This riot's getting bigger. It's getting bigger, folks. It's getting bigger.
Person that was dragging
This is nuts.
that woman away with the backpack, that was ultimately the person that was shot. some interpretation that maybe he was trying to drag her away from the scene to safety. We don't know that. We don't know that for sure, or we can't see everything, every little detail in the video, but I do have some folks texting me that that's the same guy that ultimately was shot. Let's go back, if we can, to a little bit of that video, at least leading up to the shooting, while we wait for the governor to take the podium, if we can get that viewed up.
I'm scanning for updates out here, folks. Stand by, ladies.
At what unfolded. And specifically, if it is in fact the person that was shot that is trying to drag that woman away from the scene.
Oh boy! Oh wow! Okay. We have all seen that video 100 times now. What I want to show the Antifa militia is on the streets. Allegedly, the Antifa militia is out here on the streets.
College is an investment. We make sure it pays off. At Endicott College, our pioneering.
I think that's what that is. This curious-looking device mounted on top of this armored vehicle. This looks like an LRAD device, long-range acoustic device, which can be used to blast some pretty uncomfortable sounds. Sort of like an acoustic weapon designed to break up a crowd, to disperse a crowd. Waltz is live, is that right? Yeah, but here we go.
I have a strong statement here for our federal government. Minnesota's justice system will have the last word on this. It must have the last word. As I told the White House in no uncertain terms this morning, the federal government cannot be trusted to lead this investigation. The state will handle it, period. Let me say something else, and this is critically important. All of us understand what happened this morning and the tragedy of it, and my deepest sympathies to the family of a 37-year-old Minnesota resident, a lawful firearm concealed permit carrier, something that I've been lectured to by Republicans for decades. That is not only your right, it's your duty.
What, attack ICE officers?
We know that the potential to further inflame tensions is high. And to Minnesotans, there's a difference. We want calm and peace and normalcy back to our lives. They want chaos. We cannot and we will not give them what they want by meeting violence with violence. Minnesota and our local law enforcement, as you have seen, have done everything possible to de-escalate. Local media has reported extensively on the cooperation to de-escalate this situation. Donald Trump, I call on you once again. Remove this force from Minnesota. They are sowing chaos and violence. We've seen deadly violence from federal agents again and again and again. But in contrast to that, on these frozen streets, what you witnessed yesterday was the best of Minnesota, peacefully exercising their First Amendment rights. And I attended in the church basement hundreds of Minnesotans from all faith packing care packages for families that have been ripped apart. Despite the horrific acts by this federal government, Minnesotans are standing up for the rule of law. They're protesting loudly and urgently, but peacefully. It must stay that way, Minnesota. Minnesotans are witnessing, and we're creating a log of evidence for the future prosecution of ICE agents and officials responsible for this.
Wow.
They're helping their neighbors. They're walking their kids to school. They're feeding families.
There you have it. They want vengeance.
I salute their courage and their restraint. And I call on all Americans to see the decency that this state is exhibiting and the horrific cruelty, unprofessional, absolute abomination that is passing for what these ICE agents are doing on our streets. They think they can provoke us into abandoning our values. Well, they're dead wrong. We'll keep the peace. We'll secure the justice with our neighbors, and we'll see this occupation end. Minnesotans and Minnesota law enforcement that continuously is being denigrated by this administration will continue to be the adults in the room, the professionals in the room, the decent human beings in the room that will keep the peace. With this, I'd like to turn it over to Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson to update you on the situation as we know it.
They want vengeance. Next time they're in power, they're going to try to get it.
Thank you, Governor. I'm Bob Jacobson, Commissioner of Public Safety for the Department of Public Safety, and again, it's my honor to serve in that position. A man was shot and killed this morning in Minneapolis. I want to pause and remember what cannot get lost in this moment. Man died. His family and friends are feeling unimaginable heartbreak and trauma. And I know Minnesotans and I know our community will rally around this man's family and friends to support him. I also understand clearly that people are upset. They're scared, they're confused, and I want to assure you that this state's public safety officials and our local law enforcement partners are doing everything in our power to get answers, to help return a sense of normalcy back to our communities. You have the right to demonstrate peacefully. We recognize that demonstrations are often driven by strong emotions, beliefs, and a desire to be heard. But please remain peaceful. And I want to say it again because it is important and it is critical. Peacefully demonstrate. By doing so, you help local authorities to get answers. You help us to do our investigations. By remaining peaceful, you help ensure nobody else may be killed or injured. The thousands and thousands of people who gathered yesterday in Minneapolis proved that Minnesotans can make their voices heard peacefully, and they can do so without violence, and they can do so without destruction. State resources are available and ready to support our local law enforcement partners as requested. And those resources include the Minnesota State Patrol, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, and the Minnesota National Guard. With that, we'll stand for questions.
Here we go.
Governor, you made this request before. Is there any reason to believe that it will be answered differently? Have you had any conversations with the president, with the federal government? And is there any indication that they are going to pull out or back down?
Well, I spoke twice this morning, shortly after I received the call of this shooting. I spoke with the President's Chief of Staff, and first request was to get her people out of there, to get these federal agents out of there. They were going to cause more chaos.
Not going to happen.
And second call is, with no uncertain terms, that we will investigate this. We will not be stonewalled. What we've already seen, and you saw it this morning, before any investigation is done, you have the most powerful people in the federal government spinning stories and putting up pictures and unrelated people who we don't know anything about, and a picture of a firearm to try and spin a narrative. And I ask Americans, this will end when enough Americans say this will end. Do I have any confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing? No, I don't have a lot of confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing. I do have a lot of confidence that the majority of the American people will do the right thing. And I think there cannot be very many people across this country looking right now, after all the reporting that's been done, after everything that's been said under the pretense that they are here about immigration reform, and quit referring to these people as law enforcement. They are not law enforcement. We have law enforcement who do an incredible job. And to listen to Greg Bovino denigrate the work of our people who are out there cleaning up their mess, no, I don't have a lot of confidence that he himself will do it. But here's what I do have confidence in. There's a whole lot of Republicans, for whatever reason, cannot find their spine. But they might find the ability to know that they're not going to win another election as long as they live, unless they stand up for what's right and stand up for the rule of law and stand up for human decency, and that's the moment.
What a loser. What a loser.
What are the people of Minnesota supposed to do who are in the middle right now? Because if they stonewall and you're trying to investigate, is that forced?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And look, I speaking to the people of Minnesota right now, I hear that scream from you, and I'll continue to plead and ask I know the answer is